Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar sponsored by the Association of Schools and Programs of Public Health, or ASPPH. I am Monica Statler, and I direct the graduate training programs here at ASPPH. The purpose of today's webinar is to share information about fellowship opportunities sponsored by ASPPH for students and alumni of our member CEPH-accredited schools and programs of public health. During today's webinar, we will share information about fellowship opportunities at two federal agencies, the EPA and NHTSA, and at an independent private foundation, the Beaumont Foundation, and through our partners at CSTE. We will also share information about the internship program offered at ASPPH headquarters in Washington, D.C. during the summer. Then, we plan to provide an overview to the application process. We have allocated time at the end of the program for questions and answers. In addition, we are joined today by two of our current fellows who we have asked to share their personal experiences in their fellowship positions. Jeremy Kinsman, a fellow assigned to the National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, and Jordan Zambrana, a fellow assigned to the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Also presenting today will be my colleague, Dorothy Biberman, Program Manager of ASPPH Fellowship. Before we start, a few housekeeping details. At any time during the webinar, you can type your question into the questions box, which you can find on the toolbar on the right side of your computer screen, as shown here. We will address all questions during the question and answer session after the presentation. If you have not already done so, please put your phones on mute to eliminate background noises. Now to begin. The Association of Schools and Programs of Public Health, known as ASPPH, is the voice of accredited public health education. We represent schools and programs accredited by the Council on Education for Public Health, or is commonly referenced as CEPH. ASPPH is pleased to partner with several federal agencies, including the EPA, the U.S. Department of Transportation, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, and the CDC, as well as the philanthropic organization, the Beaumont Foundation, to offer public health training opportunities for students and recent graduates of our member schools and programs. You may ask yourself what distinguishes the ASPPH training programs from all the other fellowships out there. First and foremost, with over 30 years of training program experience, ASPPH provides highly respected and recognized mentor training programs specifically aimed at fostering the growth of early career public health professionals. We have time-tested relationships with federal agencies that are involved in public health, such as the CDC, EPA, and NHTSA. The performance of our fellows speaks for itself, as many of our program participants go on to become full-time employees or contractors at their host agencies. In addition, as an ASPPH fellow or intern, you become part of a network of over 2,200 ASPPH fellowship and internship alumni who are public health leaders in private, nonprofit, academic, and government organizations. Wherever you are in your career, you can always contact ASPPH and ASPPH fellow and intern alumni for networking, advice, and support. ASPPH offers two types of graduate training programs: internships and fellowships. Internships are short-term training assignments, usually 10 to 12 weeks long, and are open to students currently enrolled in an ASPPH CEPH-accredited school or program of public health. Fellowships are longer-term training assignments, typically 1 to 2 years, and in some circumstances 3 years. Fellowships are open to recent graduates, defined as students who will have received a master's or doctorate degree by the start of the fellowship, or students who have graduated within the previous 5 years of the start date of the fellowship. During this presentation, we will focus on fellowship opportunities that are scheduled to begin in late summer or early fall of 2017 and internship positions for the summer of 2017. For the internship program, applicants must be enrolled in an ASPPH member CEPH-accredited graduate school or program of public health and currently seeking a master's or doctoral degree. To be eligible for ASPPH fellowship programs, applicants must have received a master's or doctorate degree from an ASPPH CEPH-accredited school or program of public health. The graduate degree must have been earned prior to the beginning of the fellowship and no earlier than the previous 5 years. We are often asked if you must have an MPH degree specifically, or if it is okay to have an MSPH or MHS. The answer depends on where you got your degree. If you attended an ASPPH member School of Public Health, then any graduate degree received through the School of Public Health is acceptable. If you attended an ASPPH member Program of Public Health, only those degrees which are accredited by CEPH are eligible, and this varies by program. The same principle applies to doctoral degrees. They must be from the ASPPH member CEPH-accredited school or program of public health. All applicants for ASPPH fellowships and internships must also be U.S. citizens or hold visas permitting permanent residence in the U.S., i.e. have a green card, to be eligible for the program. For international students who are on today's webcast, we suggest you check with your school's Career Services Office as well as with the ASPPH website, publichealthjobs.net, to find opportunities for which you might be eligible. You may also research opportunities available directly through the federal agency in which you are interested. Let's take a look at our internship structure. Our internship assignments are 10 to 12 weeks, typically scheduled June through August. Interns receive a training stipend. Each intern is required to establish goals and objectives for the assignment. These goals and objectives are established in collaboration with the ASPPH mentor and possibly with a faculty advisor. At the end of the assignment, each intern is required to submit a final summary report of their internship project work. Oftentimes, the ASPPH internship will serve to meet a practicum requirement and also can serve as the basis for a thesis or other academic paper. All current internship opportunities will be based at ASPPH headquarters in Washington, D.C. Fellowship structure. Fellowship assignments are 12-month placements. Some ASPPH programs offer extensions for up to 3 years based on the availability of funding at the host agency, as well as on the satisfactory performance of the fellow. Fellows receive a training stipend and an allowance for expenses such as health insurance. The stipend and allowance vary by program and fellowship location. Each fellow is required to establish goals and objectives that they will accomplish during their placement. These goals and objectives are established in collaboration with host agency mentors and are reported to ASPPH at the beginning of the fellowship. Fellows then report to ASPPH and their mentors on their progress in accomplishing their plan throughout the assignment period. At the end of the assignment, each fellow is required to submit a final report and assessment. Specific fellowship opportunities will be discussed in just a moment. But for now, the best person to describe a program is somebody who is in it. As such, we are pleased that Jeremy Kinsman can be with us today. Jeremy is an ASPPH NHTSA Public Health Fellow based in Washington, D.C. headquarters for the U.S. Department of Transportation, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Jeremy is currently in the second year of his fellowship experience. Jeremy.
Well, thanks for that really nice introduction, Monica. I'm happy to speak with folks today who are potential applicants for the ASPPH fellowship. As Monica mentioned, I'm hosted by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which is an agency within the U.S. Department of Transportation, and I'm in the Office of Emergency Medical Services. I graduated from Tulane University with my MPH in 2015, in May of 2015, and I started on the fellowship the very next month in June. So it was a quick transition and a really good decision. I had a number of different opportunities right after I graduated. And the reason I chose to do the ASPPH fellowship was that I really felt like it provided a great opportunity for me to take kind of the public health skills and knowledge that I had learned as an MPH student and to immediately kind of use them to advance the public health mission at a federal level and kind of affecting people across the nation. So some of the things that I do on a daily basis in the office, I think they can kind of be categorized into 3 different areas that kind of relate to the mission of ASPPH and also the mission of my agency and office. So the first thing is I'm doing a lot of work to just do original research and try to get that research published. A lot of it focuses on EMS and traffic safety. The second thing I do is I really try to be a voice for public health within the federal government and to try and kind of advocate for social justice kind of in all the things, all the policies and work that my office does. And then the third thing that I do, the fellowship is really kind of centered around learning how the federal government operates. So how do they choose, how do they create contracts? How do they fund different programs and projects? How do they work with other agencies? How do they work with the White House? And so that's been really great. And then I just mentioned, the opportunities with professional development through ASPPH have been really great. So some of the more specific things that I've been working on, I'm in the Office of EMS, so a lot of our focus is on traffic safety. So we have an enormous database. It's called the National EMS Database. For 2015, it has something like 30 million records. But folks in my office were feeling like that information wasn't being used widely by public health, traffic safety, and even EMS professionals. So I took the database and created a data visualization using Tableau software and trying to create a visualization that was maybe user-friendly and would show kind of people the value of EMS data. And that's actually going to be published on NHTSA.gov. So that's been like a really great opportunity. And then I've done some research looking at kind of disparities in EMS responses to traffic crashes, research that I've been working on that I presented at APHA this past year. And then even though our office is focused on traffic safety, because I'm in the Office of EMS, we cover the full spectrum of emergency medical services. And so we have a lot of data on opioid overdose patients and patients that have received naloxone in the pre-hospital setting. So I've been working really closely with the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy and the drug czar there on making sure that their staff has access to EMS data and is understanding EMS data and interpreting it and analyzing it appropriately. So those are just a couple of things I've been working on, but I've really enjoyed the fellowship. As Monica mentioned, I'm in my second year. My plan right now is to stay through for a third, and it's been a great opportunity. So thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy. We appreciate you sharing your own experience with your ASPPH fellowship. We're now going to share some information on fellowship and internship opportunities available in this coming year. At this time, we'll go on to, I'm going to now ask my colleague, Dorothy Biberman, ASPPH Program Manager, to talk about each of the programs that will soon have opportunities available. Dorothy.
Thank you, Monica. We are very excited to announce 3 opportunities. The ASPPH-EPA Environmental Health Fellowship Program, the ASPPH-NHTSA Public Health Fellowship Program, and the ASPPH Public Health Philanthropy Fellowship Program. For those who are interested in pursuing a fellowship at either a federal agency and/or a philanthropic foundation. The application for the ASPPH-EPA Environmental Health Fellowship Program opens this Friday, December 9th, and the deadline is January 27th. The application for the ASPPH-NHTSA Public Health Fellowship Program also opens this Friday, December 9th, and the deadline is February 10th. The application for the ASPPH Public Health Philanthropy Fellowship Program opens on January 27th, and the deadline is March 24th. Please note that these deadlines apply to all fellowship materials. So letters of recommendation and faculty advisor verification are also due on these dates. We'll discuss these more in a few minutes. In addition to these fellowship programs, ASPPH has placed fellows at CDC, both in the Atlanta headquarters and in offices throughout the world for over 30 years. The opportunities at CDC provide high-quality training experiences, working on assignments that contribute to CDC's mission of saving lives and protecting people from health threats. At this point, no new positions have been announced for CDC. The goal of the ASPPH-EPA Environmental Health Fellowship Program is to provide professional training and opportunities for early career public health professionals to be involved with EPA on current and emerging environmental public health needs. The program provides fellows the opportunity to train under nationally recognized experts who will work to protect human health and the environment at a national and international level. The program focuses on climate change, sustainable communities, drinking water and public health, children's environmental health, air quality, and environmental justice. Fellowship locations are primarily in Washington, D.C. and Research Triangle Park, North Carolina. There are occasional opportunities open at EPA regional offices. Fellowships are expected to start in September 2017. The ASPPH-NHTSA Public Health Fellowship Program provides opportunities for early career professionals to apply their public health knowledge on projects that address the preventable public health problems associated with motor vehicle injuries, death and disabilities, and ultimately improve traffic safety. Fellowships are located in Washington, D.C. and are expected to start in August 2017. The ASPPH Public Health Philanthropy Fellowship Program provides an opportunity for early career public health professionals to develop skills in practice-based research, policy, and grant-making within an organization dedicated to philanthropy with a focus on public health. The fellowship is based at the De Beaumont Foundation's headquarters in Bethesda, Maryland, and is expected to start in July 2017. The application for the ASPPH Summer Internship Program will open on January 27th, and the deadline will be March 24th. The ASPPH Summer Internships are designed to provide a learning experience in public health for current graduate students. ASPPH interns have contributed to communication efforts and also data analysis efforts here at ASPPH. Finally, ASPPH is pleased to partner with the Council for State and Territorial Epidemiologists to promote the CSTE-CDC ASPPH Applied Epidemiology Fellowship Program, which is available to students and recent graduates of ASPPH member schools and programs of public health. The program places fellows for 2 years of on-the-job training at a state or local health agency under the guidance of an experienced mentor to train in the field of epidemiology. This application is currently open and the deadline is January 13th. For additional information and application instructions, please go directly to the CSTE website at www.cste.org. Please note, this program is not administered by ASPPH, and the application process is separate from ASPPH fellowships. The application for this program may be accessed from the CSTE website. Information regarding ASPPH fellowships and internships is available through your Career Service Office or your Student Liaison Office at your school or program. In addition, you may also easily access information online, including all application deadlines and detailed application instructions. Just go to the main page of the ASPPH website and click on the link for Study at the top of the page. Then click on Fellowships and Internships. You can also go directly to our new Fellowships and Internships Applications portal, where you can create an account and submit an application. A great way to stay up to date about training opportunities is to subscribe to the ASPPH Friday letter. We announce all of our fellowship and internship openings through the Friday letter, and we also advertise partner opportunities. Now let's talk about the application process. To apply for a fellowship or internship, applicants first need to create an account in the ASPPH application portal if they don't already have one. We'll focus here on how to apply for fellowships, but the process is the same to apply for internships, and the requirements are very similar. For those of you who already have an account in our system, you'll notice that we have a brand new application portal. We're very excited to launch our new application portal for use with the upcoming fellowship and internship applications. The new application is more streamlined and user-friendly and requires submission of all materials in electronic format, so no more hard copy materials. To begin, there are 5 main components of the application package: a resume, which is specific to the program you're applying to, 2 recommendation letters, which are also specific to the program being applied to, graduate transcripts from your school or program of public health, brief essays, no more than 1,500 words, which are specific to the position being applied to, and faculty advisor information. This is only for applicants who have not yet graduated or whose transcript does not show the graduation date yet. An advisor will need to verify your graduation date. Finally, if you are not a U.S. citizen, but instead a permanent resident, you'll be asked to indicate that in your application. However, you will not be required to provide proof of residency status unless you are offered a position. So you do not need to submit a copy of your green card. U.S. citizens will also be required to provide proof of citizenship if they're offered a position. Before we show you how to use the ASPPH application portal, I'm pleased to introduce Jordan Zambrana. Jordan is in his 2nd year as an ASPPH EPA Environmental Health Fellow, and he's based in EPA's Office of Air and Radiation here in Washington, D.C. Jordan will share some tips on how to best submit your application package. Jordan.
Thanks, Dorothy. And throughout this kind of section here, I definitely am going to emphasize one point, and that is time. You're going to need to know your deadlines, especially with, for example, with the ASPPH EPA, which is open on December 9th, and will close on January 27th. Time is a very important factor because you cannot be in control of everything. There will be things that will happen, such as mail getting lost or recommenders forgetting to answer your emails and things. So it's important that when you look at the materials that you need and you ask the recommenders or you request your transcripts in lots of time to allow for things that may or may not happen. And with that said, first I would like to address the recommenders. My professional information gives me that you should probably require about 2 weeks minimum, really, and that's really at a minimum. I understand going to school that professors are very, very busy and sometimes very hard to reach and to contact. So it's definitely of the utmost importance that you request as early as possible. Also, don't feel too pushy or too afraid to kind of send reminders or ask them in person, stop by their office. They're not going to mind it because it actually helps them. They have a lot of things going on, and it really gets the process moving a lot faster that way. And same with the transcripts. Request those in person. Request duplicates, one for yourself and one to send to ASPPH, because sometimes if something happens with the mail, it gets lost, you have a duplicate handy. You can just scan that and fax it out. And these are things that will definitely help you move a lot quicker. Now, I noticed also that you're going to need to submit your resume. Now, if you've had job experience before, you may have one already prepared. If you've had previously done internships, you may have one prepared for that also. But if not, often schools offer career services where you can actually go and they'll help you structure your resume in a way that highlights your experience and to highlight your goals and tailor it really specifically to this program. The next thing that you're going to want to look at is the essay. It's very, very important to direct the essay specifically to the topic and the kind of program that you're applying to, and highlight the areas of your experience and your story that will allow you to effectively communicate kind of why you're really greatly situated to take part in this program, and why you would be the best candidate. Now, you have just, your 2 pair of eyes, but it's best to get as many pairs of eyes on the essay as possible. And, each person has their kind of skills. Maybe you're really great at telling your narrative, but you're not so great at catching all your different grammar errors that may occur. So you want to have someone who's kind of uniquely talented in that, and you want to have someone also look at how you tell your story and whether it effectively works with the topic of the essay. So before you hand your essay to someone, you really want to let them know what your goals are in the essay. Even educate them a little bit about what the program is and what you're applying to, so that they could look at it as if they were judging it for the fellowship themselves. And that would definitely help you kind of target yourself to the essay. Now, once you get through kind of the resume, the transcript, the recommenders, and you've been kind of accepted for an interview, which is unique to the ASPPH-EPA fellowship, then you're going to want to go on to think about what your kind of interview skills are. And again, if you've had jobs before, if you've had internships before, you may have gone through this process. And when I went through it, it was a panel of 3, and that may be unique. You may be used to doing kind of a one-on-one with a manager. These are important things to consider, but you can kind of look at the general the general interview questions, and just be able to effectively tell your story, effectively describe your experiences, and really what really works is getting across your passion for public health and your desire to affect the world in a positive way through the skills that you've learned at your public health school, and target it again very specifically to your area of interest, be that climate change or what have you. And it's also important to do the simple things: dress appropriately, kind of business casual, even a suit, and also get there on time. And on time doesn't mean the time that they set forth for your interview. It really means, I would say, at least 15 minutes beforehand. And again, the interviews are held in DC, and of course many of you will be from around different parts of the United States, so you have to take into account travel time, and also travel time in a city that you may or may not know very well. These things, again, focusing on trying to control the things that you can control. You can control getting to a place early. You can't control if it's a rainy day or if the metro breaks down. But if you give yourself time, you can really, really kind of lessen the impact of these factors. And I want you to also consider, once again, consider the questions that may come up over the course of the interview. Really know how to highlight the various classes that you've taken, and also just any internships and experience that you may have that you really feel is pertinent, and just have that at the tip of your tongue, and even show examples about ways that you've impacted your internship or your classroom for the better. And I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jordan. Very helpful advice, and the interview tips definitely relevant for any application, I think, interview, even one that's not in person.
Absolutely.
So thanks again. And now we are going to go do a walkthrough of how to use the new ASPPH fellowships-internships.asppph.org application portal. And you can see the URL here. The first ASPPH website, fellowships-internships.asppph.org. You may log in or sign up for an account directly from this page. You can also access the online application portal from the main ASPPH website by clicking onto the Study tab and then on the Fellowships and Internships link. Once you've logged in, you'll come to the main homepage for the ASPPH application portal. This page shows any open applications at the top, including the application deadline and a link to view the full program announcement. While that link is not shown in this screen capture, the program announcement is the most important resource you have when applying to a fellowship or internship. It includes detailed information about the fellowship program, open positions, eligibility, review procedures and criteria, timelines, and how to apply. We strongly recommend that you review the program announcement before starting an application. The homepage also includes some quick information and links to additional resources, including a My Status section shown here. Once you've submitted an application, you can track the progress of your application in this section. You can also find a user's manual, which is step-by-step instructions on how to submit an application at the bottom of the page in the resources section. And I also want to note that as we go through, you'll see some details. These are all test accounts. None of this information is anybody's personal information. So you'll see here that there are 5 steps to complete and submit your application. Step 1 is the My Profile page, where you enter your personal and contact information. Be sure to use a permanent email address for your application, as this is the email ASPPH will use to contact you about your application throughout the entire process. Step 2 is My Education, which is where you'll enter your degree information and upload your resume and transcript. Note that in the application portal, you may upload an unofficial graduate transcript for the purpose of the application. If you are offered and accept a fellowship position, you will be required to provide an official graduate transcript. In addition, when you enter your graduation date, if it is in the future, you'll be directed to enter your faculty advisor information. When you submit your application, the system will generate an email to your faculty advisor asking them to verify your expected graduation date. You should be sure to talk to your faculty advisor before the application deadline so that they're aware and will be prepared to respond. Step 3 is My Application. This is where you'll select the positions you're applying to and upload your essays, as well as enter the information for your references. You will see a list of open positions for the program you're applying to on this page. If you're not sure which ones you want to apply to, there will be a link to the program announcement at the top of the page, which includes details about each position. You apply to the position you're interested in by uploading an essay to that position. You may apply to a maximum of 3 positions under each fellowship program. The system will not allow you to upload more than 3 essays. The reference section at the bottom of the page is where you'll enter the contact information for the 2 people who've agreed to write your letters of recommendation. There is no restriction on who you may request to be your reference, but they should be people who can speak to your experience and your qualifications for the program you're applying to. When you submit your application, the system will automatically generate an email to each of your references asking them to submit their letter of recommendation. As with the faculty advisor, you should be sure to speak to your references well before the application deadline so that they're prepared to respond. In step 4, you'll review your entire application. If you need to make any changes, click on the pencil icon next to the section you want to revise, and it will take you back to that section to make any changes. The final step is for you to submit your application. Check the box to electronically sign your application and then hit the Submit button shown in orange. When your application is successfully submitted, you'll receive a confirmation email. The system will also automatically generate the emails to your references and faculty advisor if applicable. Please note that just saving the application with that information will not generate the emails. You must hit the submit button for the emails to be sent to your references and faculty advisor. As mentioned earlier, your faculty advisor and references must also complete their sections by the application deadline. Therefore, you should not wait until the last day to submit your application, because your references and faculty advisor will not have time to submit their materials before the deadline. Once you've submitted your application, you may rescind it at any time to make changes from your home page by clicking on the pencil icon. As long as you resubmit by the application deadline, your application will be reviewed. This is a good option if you want your references and faculty advisor to get the email, but you're still working on perfecting your essays or resume. Just remember that if you rescind, you must resubmit your application or it will not be reviewed. ASPPH will not accept any incomplete applications. This includes missing information and submissions from your references or faculty advisor. Once again, the application deadline is also the deadline for them to submit their documents. Once the deadline has passed, ASPPH will review all applications for completeness and eligibility. We'll update your status in the system when your application has been verified and move along to the review stage. You may view your application status at any time you're logged into the system. The system will also automatically send you an email update with change in status. I'll now turn the presentation back over to Monica to go over the review process. Monica.
Thank you. Thank you, Dorothy. ASPPH ensures that all eligible completed applications submitted by the deadline will be reviewed in an open, fair, and transparent process. Each application is reviewed by 2 faculty or staff members from ASPPH member institutions, but not from the same institution as the applicant. Applications are scored according to criteria noted in the program announcement, and the top applicants progress to the next phase. For the NHTSA and philanthropy fellowships, this is the technical review phase. During this time, applicants may be contacted for interviews directly by the agency. Moving on to the technical review phase does not guarantee that an applicant will receive an interview, only that the application has been sent to the placement agency for review. It is possible that not all applicants in the technical review phase will receive interviews. As Jordan mentioned, for the ASPPH EPA Fellowship Program, the next step is an in-person interview. The interviews will be held in Washington, D.C. in early April. All applicants who advance to this stage are required to attend in order to be considered for final placement. The top applicants from the interviews will then progress to technical review at EPA. Individuals selected for positions with any of our programs will be contacted directly by ASPPH via phone and email. Those applicants who are not selected will be notified by ASPPH by email. The timeline for each program will vary. Please refer to our website and the specific program announcement to review important dates for the program in which you're interested. That ends our formal presentations. We'll now open the lines for questions. Please type your question into the chat or question box in the right corner of the screen. To open the box, press the 2 arrows. I will then direct your questions to one of today's speakers. We have approximately 20 minutes remaining in today's program. We will try to answer as many questions as possible, but if we run out of time, you may email your questions to ASPPH. We will compile those questions and responses and post on the resources page of the ASPPH application portal. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start answering some of the questions that you've inputted into the questions box.
Okay, so the first question is about graduates with social work degrees, but interest in public health. And unfortunately, unless you got your degree combined with an MPH or from a CEPH-accredited school or program of public health, you are most likely not eligible for ASPPH fellowships.
Okay, we also have a question if there are opportunities for health communications recent graduates. If the graduate degree is from an ASPPH-member CEPH-accredited school or program of public health, oftentimes we will have announcements for positions at a number of our agencies. We've had health communications fellows at a variety of organizations. So it really depends on what's available at that particular time for that year and within each program. So I do encourage you to peruse the program announcement and see what's available, and also to definitely mention your interest in pursuing health communication specifically within your essay or interviews for those areas that might include that. For example, at EPA, for example, the positions might be within the Office of Water, but there could be health communications training opportunities within that office. So definitely include that area of interest and communicate that in both your essay and interviews if you make it to that phase.
So a kind of housekeeping question here about whether the webinar and slides will be available after the presentation is over today, and the answer to that is yes. Both the webinar and the slides, the recording of the webinar and the slides will be available on the ASPPH website. And everybody who has logged in or registered for this webinar will receive an email with a link to that information so that you can go back and review it as you need to when you're applying.
We have another, can I apply if I have finished my coursework but won't have graduated because I still need to defend my thesis by the date the fellowship is supposed to start? The answer to that, I'm afraid, is no. You must have your graduate degree in hand. It must have been conferred by the time the fellowship begins. So if you don't plan, if you're still going to need to defend your thesis or what have you, by that point, then I recommend you wait for the following year. Keep in mind you will be eligible for ASPPH fellowship programs for up to 5 years after graduation.
And I would also add that if you haven't graduated as of right now, but will graduate, say, in May of this year, including defending your thesis and everything else you have to do to receive your degree, you are eligible this year. But as Monica said, if there's anything left, any coursework, any thesis defense, anything like that, that will continue after the fellowship start date, then you will not be able to participate this year, but we would definitely encourage you to apply next year.
So we now have a question. Do I have to be a member of ASPPH? I'm a student at a school that is a member of ASPPH. That's a really good question. ASPPH's membership consists of institutions only. So if your school or program of public health is a member of ASPPH, then under that umbrella, you are eligible for the fellowship and internship programs here at ASPPH. We do not have individual membership. So because your institution is a member, you are eligible to apply for the program.
So the next question is, how will I know if a faculty member actually submits the letter of recommendation? And that is a great question. And the answer is that you can check your status on the website. If you recall from that quick little peek, but you'll see it in the slides and on the application system when you submit your application, in the My Status section, you'll have a status bar and a checklist of items that need to be submitted. And as those items are submitted, the boxes will be checked. So when your recommender submits the letter of recommendation, that checkbox will be ticked off for that letter. So you'll be able to track it that way. In addition, if you're not tracking it as closely, once all of your materials are received and verified for completeness and eligibility, and we update your status, not only will the website update, but the system will automatically generate an email to you telling you about your progress through the application system.
We have a question also. Do you know if the CDC fellowships will open for either 2017 or 2018? As mentioned earlier, at this point in time, CDC has not provided any fellowship announcements to us. I really encourage you, if you aren't already subscribing to the ASPPH Friday letter, please do so. That is, our official announcement is always generated through the ASPPH Friday letter and of course posted on the ASPPH website and in the online application portal. So in order to stay abreast of any opportunities as they arise, I encourage you to stay tuned and to check those resources frequently.
So I have a question about if you are offered a position, how long will you have to decide whether to accept or decline the offer, and will you be able to talk to people at the agency as you're making that decision? And we provide a 48 business hour time period for turnaround from when we offer you the position till when you need to provide us with your response. If you are interested, at that point, we may be able to connect you with current fellows or back with the mentor for that position. However, we will not connect anybody with those people prior to being offered a position. Only if you are offered a position will you be able to be put in contact with those people. But we certainly would encourage that when considering an offer in order to make an informed decision.
Okay, we also have a question. What is the citizenship requirement for the internship program? And do you have to be U.S. citizen or green card holder? The answer to that is yes. For all ASPPH fellowship and internship programs, you must be either a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident of the United States in order to be eligible.
Are the current program opportunities already listed? Is the question, for example, particular positions within the EPA fellowship program. They are not, so there is a general description of the EPA fellowship program and all of our fellowship programs currently on our website. However, when the application opens this Friday, there will be a great deal more additional information, including specific information about the individual positions that can be applied to, or position areas, I believe, that can be applied to underneath each fellowship program. And as we mentioned earlier, the best place to get information is actually by not just going to the website, but also reading the program announcement for the fellowship program.
And again, all of that will be available this Friday, December 9th, for positions, 2017 positions for the ASPPH EPA Fellowship Program and the ASPPH NHTSA Fellowship Program. So look forward to that this coming Friday. So we have another question. Our MPH program is an accelerated program that students begin in August and complete in June, 10 months. Would they be eligible for the summer internship as a postgraduate experience? The answer to that question is yes. If you are during the point of application, If you are currently enrolled, when you're applying, you may apply to the internship program. So we have had interns who have actually completed their internship projects immediately following graduation because they're able to meet the requirement because they were enrolled at the time of application. So yes, I would encourage you to apply to the internship program if you're interested in doing so. Okay, so we have what is the average stipend and allowance for the fellowships? Again, as I mentioned earlier, this varies, can vary rather widely between ASPPH fellowship programs, depending on the location and type of fellowship project that the fellows are going to be working on. So again, I really encourage you to look at the program announcement. The program announcement will be available once the positions are formally announced on the ASPPH website and through the Friday letter. At that time, when you go into the application portal, there's going to be a PDF that you can download and keep handy for you and read thoroughly and carefully all the information for each individual program. In that program announcement, there will be more details about the stipends available for each particular program, as well as any expense allowances are available for each of those programs. So you're going to have to do a little research on your own, and when the announcements are released, again, this Friday for EPA and NHTSA programs, you can look at the program announcement and get all the information you need from that. Also have, I'm currently looking at a link, HTTP, she gives a link here, and the dates for the upcoming applications are not available. Okay, I think you're looking at our old website. So actually, if you look up, let me bring it to the next slide. I apologize. If you look here, we have the current website URLs, and also I encourage you, if you go directly to the ASPPH website, hit the study section at the top, and then that'll bring up some selections, and you can hit fellowships and internships from there. That's probably the easiest way, because that way all you need to remember is ASPPH.org, and you can still get to the same place.
Okay, so we have a question here about foreign nationals, those students and graduates who may have a degree but are not U.S. citizens or permanent residents. And unfortunately, at this point, ASPPH does not have any opportunities that are open to foreign nationals. However, we would encourage you to both speak with your career services department in your school or program of public health, and also to research the individual agencies, that you're interested in, because often they will have opportunities that you might be eligible for just under different programs that are not with ASPPH. So that is what we would encourage foreign nationals to look into.
I have a question here. If I'm selected for an interview, is the cost of travel covered by the program or by the applicant? And this would pertain specifically to the ASPPH EPA Environmental Health Fellowship Program. If you are invited to interview in front of the panel committee for that fellowship, your expenses will be covered by the fellowship program. Applicants will have to make their own travel arrangements and front the cost of the trip themselves, but we will review with you and provide all the documents you need to fill out to obtain reimbursement for the trip. So yes, the expenses will be fully reimbursable by ASPPH. Okay, we have a question. I'm a primary care physician with a recent MPH. I'm interested in reproductive health and health disparities. I'm also interested in a fellowship that requires Caribbean healthcare background. Any suggestions for this type of fellowship program? I do that. Along those lines, most of the opportunities for these areas would fall under our CDC program. In fact, we even have, under our Rosenfield Global Health Fellowship Program, we have had fellows based in the Caribbean region dealing with these types of health issues. However, because currently we don't have any open positions with the CDC fellowships, I encourage you to take a look at the EPA positions that are coming up. Those might be of interest to you. And again, please stay on the lookout for any other announcements ASPPH might have upcoming in the next couple of months. So we've said it lots of times, but I really do encourage you to subscribe to the ASPPH Friday letter, because that's a great resource for many reasons, one of which being that's the first place we announce any new opportunities with our fellowships that might arise.
So one question we have here is if there are any skills or characteristics that reviewers look for when reviewing an application. And that's really going to come down to your experience and your education in relation to the skill set that they're looking for. So again, check the program announcement, read the individual position descriptions, because that's where you're going to find the specifics about each position and what skills they're looking for. And as Jordan mentioned, you're really going to want to target your essay to those skills for the individual positions. And also, it's extremely important to tailor your resume to really showcase your qualifications for the fellowship program. So otherwise, there are review criteria for each fellowship program that go into the review, and you should review those. They're in the program announcement.
And along those lines, we have another question. Are the topics of fellowships only the ones provided that we've spoken about today? Again, it all goes back to the program announcement. Take a look at what's released on Friday for the EPA and NHTSA programs. In there, we'll have the various areas of training and types of positions that are available for this year. So you're going to want to take the time to peruse those and see if any of those are of interest to you, and if you'd like to apply to those. So again, we can't emphasize enough, once the applications are open and the program description is posted, that's going to give you a wealth of information that you'll need in order to move forward with the application.
Okay, so the next question, and I think this will be our second to last question, is will I or will a fellow who is accepted automatically get hired at the agency where you have your fellowship? And that is a great question, but there are a lot of variables at play, so it is kind of difficult to answer. For example, there have been years when the federal government has had hiring freezes in place, or other restrictions on hiring. I believe some of them still do. It depends on where you're looking. We actually recently conducted a survey of alumni of our fellowship programs, and we found that many fellows pursued different types of career paths following their fellowship. Some fellows returned to pursue another degree, such as a doctoral degree or a medical degree. The majority of our fellows have been employed after they've ended their fellowship with either a government contractor or a consulting firm, private employers, sometimes national associations or foundations. But we have found that about a third of our fellow alumni do get hired by a governmental public health agency, whether it's at the federal, state, or local level. So while it is not an automatic hiring mechanism, there are certainly opportunities for people who show what they can contribute.
Right, we'll answer one more question. We have, does the fellowship program reimburse for relocation? It depends on which program you're applying to. Again, if that's available through the program that you're interested in, it will be noted in the program announcement that will be posted on our website when the application opens. So some of our programs do, others do not. So that's something that you're going to have to look for in the individual program announcement. All right. Okay, well, that ends, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I was going to try to answer another question, but we've run out of time. So this concludes today's webinar. I'd like to thank all of our speakers today for their participation and insights, and thank all of you for joining us today. Have a good day. Bye-bye.